Hello guys, it's Ryan Ho back with another video. Today we'll talk about the CCA Pianist. Now the CCA Pianist is quite a crazy IEM. I think it's going to be really good for a lot of gamers because the soundstage and imaging on this thing is quite insane. Like it stages really big and the imaging was laser sharp. I was playing games like Valorant and I could just tell where the enemy was like every single time. Like they could be like behind a wall and I knew exactly where they were. The tuning of this is pretty Harman, but it just has a little extra treble emphasis. The driver configuration of this is pretty crazy. So it has 3 drivers. So it has one dynamic driver, which makes the bass really good on this. Then it has 2 BA drivers, which gives the mid-range and the treble some detail that's really kind of unheard of at this price, because having a treble driver at $40 is quite insane. A lot of things around that price point don't have that many drivers, especially with this configuration. So honestly, at this price point, it's pretty special. Yeah, those are kind of the highlights for this. So let's kind of delve into more detail. All right, so let's take a close look at the Pianist. So I actually asked my fiance, like, okay, you try this IEM, now tell me what you think it's priced at, just based off its look and how it sounds. She said about $160, which kind of proves my point, is that I think this is a very premium looking IEM. It has a metal faceplate, which looks really good. It has the resin on the back, and it's sized really well to be very comfortable in the ear. It's not too big. I would say this fits basically average ear sizes, which is really nice. And it comes with 3 different tips inside the box, which fits the the variety of sizes: small, medium, big. And then the cable terminates into this kind of 3.5 millimeter. I think the reason why this thing looks so nice is honestly the whole entire metal coating, resin, plus this kind of transparent type of cable. I think all this adds to a very premium looking product, and it's almost unbelievable that it's priced at $40. But I think that just shows you kind of how like CCA is able to simply make a lot of IEMs and sell a lot of them. So they're able to kind of pass down these, I would say, these savings from just making a lot of these. And so the consumers are able to get a pretty good value from buying from them. And I think that's kind of how this brand kind of thrives, because they really do make a lot of things between 15 to like $100. That's generally the price range of the products, and they seem to sell really well because they look really nice. Now the one interesting thing about this is the grills right here have actual venting, and if you actually cover it, it actually kind of mutes the sound, so they definitely have an effect on the sound. And I also do think that these venting holes help with the soundstage a little bit, because this thing ends up sounding really wide and one of the biggest sound stages I've heard. And so I think these venting holes have something to do with that. But at the same time, when I like snap my fingers and kind of make noise, it still isolates sound really well. So this is a very interesting design that not only I think increases your soundstage, but also still kind of mutes the outside at the same time. All right, so how does this sound? So when it comes to the bass, I think the bass of this is really good. Like I said, it has a dynamic driver kind of playing that bass, so it really does hit quite hard down there. Now, obviously, there's other things like the Truth Your Critical that have like a bigger dynamic driver that'll hit harder, but honestly, the bass on this is really, really impressive. The sub bass is also, you can hear it, and it's pretty good as well. So overall, I would say the bass is quite good because of the driver configuration. The mid-range, I think the mid-range is a little bit thinner than other kind of tuned headphones, because I think the treble is emphasized so much that it makes the mid-range sound a little bit more thin. But overall, I do think the mid-range is very forward. Male, female vocalists are really good. I really don't have that much issue, except it just sounds a little bit thinner, right? Now, when it comes to the treble, I feel like that's the part of this where it's definitely emphasized in treble. There's a lot of extra air, I think, up there. And the treble is honestly very, very detailed. Slightly, if you're treble sensitive, maybe it might get a little bit, fatiguing for you. Overall, I do think the treble is quite good, just slightly overemphasized, right? I think the best part of this, right, is the soundstage and imaging. The soundstage, literally, I think it's because it has the vents on the back that really just help it sound wide. Like, I feel like this is actually the biggest soundstage for IEMs that I've had tried before, which is kind of crazy because it sounds like the distance is quite far from my ear, at least for an IEM. And I tested it with all of my other ones, and this is the best sound staging of them that I have. And the imaging, like I said, playing games was just insane. Like when I played Valorant, that's when I realized, like, yep, this review is going to be about gaming, because that's something that I've never really had one as good as this, especially at $40. I think this is the best IM I have tried for gaming, which is says a lot, honestly. And so at this value, it's really affordable for a lot of gamers, and I think this is really how I'm going to recommend this IM is if you want to play a lot of games, this is number one for that. Now, if you want to listen to music, it's also really good. I think the detail on this is pretty insane. Like, a lot of people talk about the Moondrop shoe. It's $20. It's not really built as well as the Pianist, but I mean, sound wise, I say the only thing that this does better is maybe it has a little bit more natural sounding highs, where this one overemphasizes it. But when it comes to just the bass, how hard it hits, this is a lot better. And the amount of detail that this thing puts out because of its BA drivers is in another league than the shoes. So yeah, that gets blown apart. Now, I think the closest type of competitor around the same price point is this Truthier Critical. I think a lot of people hype this up, and it's critical, and he made another revision of this one, the red whatever. But I have the original one, and honestly, if this was as good as everyone hyped it up to be, then like this detail is absolutely way better than the True Theoretical. It is another league. Like I think the BA drivers on this and the tuning really lends it to being very detailed sounding, and like the difference between this is not close at all. And so I would say this is way more detailed than a $50 True Theory Critical. So if everyone says that's good, then this is better than that, right? Now, the one thing the True Theory Critical does better is it has bigger bass drivers. So when it comes to playing just harder hitting bass and sub bass, the True Theory Critical does do that a little bit better than the Pianist. But when it comes to just clarity and detail, this CCA definitely takes it. So this leads me to my conclusion. Definitely going to be my number one recommendation for gaming. The imaging soundstage are just insane. I think it's going to be really good for everyone who wants to play games. Now, when it comes to music listening, I also think these are very, very detailed. They're just slightly bright, so if you don't like, too treble intensive stuff, then maybe this is not for you. But I do think it's very detailed with the triple driver configuration. Those BA drivers are really doing a lot of detail, and it sounds really, really good. So that's the thing that I think is, kind of special for it at its price of $40 with that small imperfection of, overemphasized treble. But overall, this is definitely a easy recommend if you want something that's detailed and for gaming. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Check out my other videos. I reviewed some Kiwi ear IEMs and some other IEMs before, so you guys should check those out. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.